Welcome to the Kitchen Remodel Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Robin Johnson, and I can't wait to chat with you about one of the most exciting topics ever, kitchen design, right? I mean, who doesn't dream of remodeling their kitchen? Friends, if you're looking to up-level the most important room in your home, I am so glad you're here. As an award-winning designer of over 20 years, kitchens are my absolute favorite room in the house. Join me to discover the latest design trends, color palettes, and what you should know when it comes to choosing a layout, cabinetry, appliances, and so much more. With hundreds of decisions to be made and thousands of dollars on the line, you won't want to miss an episode. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Robin Johnson, your fellow kitchen designer, remodeler, and lover of all things home design. Today, we're going to talk about something that doesn't always get the spotlight, but absolutely deserves it, and that is your kitchen hood. You've heard me say it before, the kitchen hood is the crown jewel of your kitchen. And if you have the space, a beautiful hood can take your kitchen design to the next level. Now, I get it that some of you have smaller kitchens where every inch counts, and you really need that microwave over-the-range setup, and that's okay. But if you have the room, go for a custom hood design. It instantly elevates your kitchen. Not only does a hood look gorgeous, but it also is one of the most functional features in your entire kitchen. It's truly where form meets function, and when you get it right, it transforms both the look and comfort of your cooking space. In fact, if it's done well, it's something that you'll thank yourself for every time you cook. So let's dive into 5 things that you need to know before choosing your perfect kitchen hood. So number 1, let's start with the basics. What exactly do I mean by kitchen hood? Because you're going to see stainless hoods that include the ventilation built in, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm referring to decorative hoods, the ones that are designed like cabinetry that cover the mechanical venting system inside. So the hood is the decorative outer shell, and the vent is the insert or the mechanical part that removes the smoke and steam and grease when you're cooking. And both are essential. You really can't have one without the other. A good range hood keeps your cabinets from yellowing and your home from smelling like last night's dinner and your indoor air clean. And if you cook often, your hood is doing some serious heavy lifting. I tell my clients all the time that you can have the prettiest kitchen in the world, but if your ventilation system isn't up to par, you're not going to love cooking for long. So it's important that when you're planning your remodel that you don't cut corners on ventilation and really think of your hood as how your kitchen breathes. Okay, secondly, let's get a little techie and let's talk about function and how to choose proper ventilation. When you're shopping for a vent insert, you're going to see what's called a CFM rating, which stands for cubic feet per minute, or how much air your hood can recirculate or intake in 60 seconds. How much air your hood can clean in 60 seconds. And you can calculate your ideal CFM in 2 ways. Option 1, you can multiply your kitchen's length by the width by the ceiling height. Then you take that number and you multiply it by 15 for 15 air changes per hour, and then divide that number by 60. So for example, if you have a 20-foot by 15-foot kitchen with a 9-foot ceiling, multiply that out and you're going to get 2,700 cubic feet. Take that number, times it by 15, divide it by 60, and you're going to get 675 CFMs. And that's what you're going to need. And that's really the best formulaic method to determine how many CFMs you need if you have a large or open concept kitchen. It gets a little tricky if your kitchen is open concept and it runs into a great room, but really just take the actual measurements of the kitchen itself to calculate this. Okay, the second way, option 2 to calculate is just know this. A standard electric or induction range, usually 3 to 400 CFMs, is enough. And if you have a professional style gas range or you do a lot of heavy cooking like wok cooking, searing, indoor grilling, you're probably going to need 600 to 1200 CFMs, especially for a large kitchen or kitchens with extra tall ceilings. You also have to factor in that bigger isn't always better because too much suction can cause negative air pressure, which can pull down um, it can pull down air from your fireplace or even mess with your HVAC system. So you want to make sure that you're on target with the amount of CFMs that you choose. And this is where working with an appliance professional is very helpful. And then I want to talk about ducting because there's two main types. There's recirculating vents, which just filter and push the air back into the room. And there's exterior ducts that vent air outside, which is always the better choice if possible. We have a running joke at my house. Mom's cooking again when the smoke alarm goes off. And it's only occasionally, I promise. But I do wish I had an exterior vent system in my house. So, if you're remodeling or building new, think carefully about where your stove is placed so that you can run ductwork to the outside if at all possible. I have a client who had a stove on her inner wall. This was a couple years ago, and we were able to run the ductwork up into her attic, like straight up, and then over and out through an exterior wall, and it worked great. But do keep in mind that shorter, straighter duct work means better performance. So every time that the pipe has to turn, it reduces efficiency. Sometimes you have to get a little bit creative. On the Freewoods Farm project that I've been sharing on social, it's a huge, huge project that I'm working on right now. The kitchen has a really high vaulted double story ceiling, and the hood's going to be about 5 feet wide by 5 feet tall. And instead of running up like a pipe above it, we're just going to, I'm making that hood as high as possible basically to reach. Um, I guess it's 10 feet tall, which is where technically the first floor ceiling would stop. And then we're going to route that ductwork between two walls and shoot it outside. So you're not going to see that little pipe over the top of the hood. So sometimes you have to kind of get a little creative and think through how you can vent best. Okay, number three, let's talk about noise and some emerging new tech. So no one wants to, feel like they're listening to a really loud vent system when they're cooking in the kitchen. So noise level does matter. Recirculating vents, they tend to be louder, and exterior vents tend to be quieter, which is another reason to go for that. Now, many modern hoods are going to offer what's called a variable fan speed, so you can pick how high you want it to run. There's auto heat sensors and even Bluetooth connectivity that will sync with your range, that will turn your fan on automatically when cooking steam builds, which is pretty nice. So if you have an open concept home, these quieter options really make a huge difference because you're all in one big living area and you can actually have a conversation while you're cooking dinner. Next up, let's talk about hood lighting, which is another overlooked but important feature. When you're looking at vents, you're going to find LED lights and halogen or xenon lights. LED is much more energy efficient and it produces minimal heat. And you can also adjust the brightness and color that you want to go with. Versus halogen or xenon lights, which give off a lot of heat and they use more energy and they don't last as long. So make sure if you're getting a good deal on a hood that it has LED lighting included. Some of the new tech in hood lighting, like I mentioned, include adjustable color temperature LEDs. You can switch between warm, neutral, and cool tones to match the time of day or your mood. There's also dimmable and smart lighting, so you can control the brightness of your hood with a remote or even from your phone or your Alexa or Google Home. And there's also motion activated and or auto on lights when you start cooking or you walk into the room. Your hood lighting will just come on. And then there's task and ambient lighting zones, which are great if you just want like a soft glow over the stove. Maybe you're not cooking, but you just want to have some soft lighting. That's an option as well. And now for a quick message. So it's almost that time of year. The holidays are encroaching upon us. And if you cannot stand the thought of hosting the holidays again in your cramped, dated kitchen, listen up. If you're thinking of remodeling your kitchen, get on the wait list to fast track and organize your project like a pro. My Kitchen Remodel Made Easy course is your guide to save you time, money, avoid making those big, costly mistakes, and to take your kitchen design to the next level. If you can't afford to hire a designer, you cannot afford to not buy this course. Don't miss out. Available only a few times a year, this course will be coming soon. All right, we're moving on to number 4. Let's talk about designing a beautiful hood, right? Because that's the really, really fun part that we all want to get into. So, choosing a hood really can be as simple as picking one out from your cabinet maker and deciding whether to match or contrast your cabinets. And that's pretty much what I would say in the box. I mean, that's been there, done that 1,000 times. I like to get creative and think outside the box and come up with a hood design that really inspires me, that goes with the style of kitchen. It could be contrasted, it could be from a completely different material. You can use things like plaster, stone, barnwood, shiplap, quartz tile, you name it. And you can add molding, shelving, or unique trim to it. Really, this is where Pinterest is a lot of fun to get on, or Instagram, and look at hood ideas and start saving them. And then you can oftentimes find a local carpenter that can make you a hood, or sometimes the cabinet maker, depending and if you're using a factory line or not, they can build you a custom or semi-custom hood, or maybe even they're going to build you a box and you're going to take that box and then you're going to wrap it with, say, copper. I've done that before and let it sit outside for a couple months to get just that right patina. But when you are scaling your hood, you want it to be typically about 3 inches wider than your range, so that it just is a little bit bigger and makes a little bit more of a statement than being like the exact size of your range. And then it can touch your adjacent cabinets next to it on the wall, or it can stand alone. It all depends on your layout and how much space you have. Now, on this Freewood Farm project that I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing a large hood that originally was going to just be more of a straight box shape, a rectangular or vertical box. But because of the vaulted ceiling that I mentioned, like when the ceiling gets to 10 feet, it kind of comes in like a foot and then it goes straight up into the vault. And so I didn't want to have the hood, if it's 15 to 18 inches deep, I didn't want to have the hood being deeper than that little section of ceiling. So we are actually going to do a tapered hood that'll be narrower, maybe 12 inches deep at the top, and then it'll gradually come down and get wider in the front and maybe come out to, say, I don't know, 16 inches or so. We'll have to measure it out. Um, but we're going to go with like a Roman paint, which is kind of a textured stucco finish. And I'm having to order samples from California because it's not something that I've been able to find in any standard paint line. So I am shopping that online as we speak. Another idea, a project we're going to be shooting in about 2 weeks, is the Charlestown Grant Project, where we ordered a hood online from a company and they have, like, I don't know, maybe 15 different standard hoods they make, but you can customize them and you can pick the size you want, the shape you want, if you want brass straps on there or little metal grommets on there. And it's so pretty and it's softly curved and it has brass strapping on it, and it's sitting over a French inspired La Corneau range, and it's just elegant and timeless, and I can't wait to show it to you. So the hood really is a great place to get creative. But whatever design that you choose, you want to make sure that your vent insert fits like a glove, and it's really important. And typically, when you're ordering from your cabinet shop or if you're online shopping for a decorative hood, typically the specs are going to be there and they're going to tell you what size insert you need, but you can just double check with your appliance, you know, expert on that just to make sure that you're getting the right size because they do need to fit. All right, and then lastly, number 5, let's talk about the ideal height to hang that hood. This is the million-dollar question that I get often. And the hood height, well, it really affects performance and safety and looks because you want it to be proportionate to your kitchen and be balanced. So it's important to get this right. First of all, you always want to check the manufacturer's instructions. Too high means poor air capture on that vent insert we were talking about, and too low can just be a fire hazard overall, and you can also hit your head on it constantly. So you want to get it at just the right height, and typically that's going to be for an electric or induction range about 24 to 30 inches above. That would be where the bottom would actually come down to, okay? And then if you have a gas range, it's typically going to sit about 28 to 36 inches above. You just want it to feel balanced with your cabinetry and your ceiling height and be comfortable to cook under. So to recap, your hood really is not just about looks, although it is important. It's about how your kitchen feels and functions every day as well. Let's review the 5 key points that we just went over. You want to understand the difference between what a hood and a venting system is. You now know how to calculate the CFMs and think about how to duct your hood. You're going to also know that there are different noise levels and emerging new tech options with lighting that you can pick from. And you want to choose, number 4, a beautiful hood design, obviously, and there was a lot of options there for you. And then number 5, we covered the ideal height to put that hood at. So when you choose the right hood, cooking will become much more enjoyable, your kitchen will stay cleaner, and the design is going to look amazing. So if you're planning a remodel, think this through and really plan ahead and talk to your builder about where would be the best place to put, your stove and how it's going to vent, etc. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, hop over to my Instagram at Robin Johnson Interiors. I'll be sharing photos and stories from real projects, including some of my favorite hood designs of all time. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, happy remodeling, and remember, the prettiest kitchens are the ones that function well. Thanks for tuning in to the Kitchen Remodel Made Easy podcast. If you want to continue the conversation or share your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Head over to my Instagram page at Robin Johnson Interiors and send me a DM. If you're curious how to get started on your own remodeling journey, well, I have a free resource for you that you can download called the Kitchen Remodel Starter Kit in the show notes below, or you can head to my website and grab it there on the front page. Friends, if you enjoyed today's podcast and you can't wait to hear more, please leave a rating review to help others find me. And if you didn't, well, don't worry about it. Have a great weekend, and I'll be back soon for more kitchen design conversations.